So this first video is all about timekeeping. This is the most important part of your job as a drummer. You are primarily a timekeeper. That is someone that doesn't slow down or speed up. That is your job in a band or any ensemble that you play. And this doesn't mean to say that you have to play like a robot or a computerized drum machine or anything like that. There can be a bit of sort of ebb and flow in your timekeeping. And that's really what feel is about, which we'll talk about in a later video. So let's just think about timekeeping. What do I mean by timekeeping? Well, you've got to develop an internal pulse in your body. Now, what does that mean? Well, it's kind of like a feeling, like a shudder in your body. And the best way to try and develop that is, well, playing to clicks, which we're going to do in a minute, listening to lots and lots of music and basically playing a lot. So let's put a click on and we're just going to see if we can clap in time with that click. This click is 60 beats per minute, which is the same as seconds on a watch or a clock or a digital timer, whatever you've got. So it's quite an important mark in the metronome. So you're trying to cover that click up. If you visualize it as a sound, you're trying to put your clap right on top of it. And if you get it right on top of it, it will start to almost disappear. You won't be able to hear it because your clap will be right on top. And if you notice there, I was also starting to sort of sway and rock my body to that beat, which is what we're trying to develop. So let's try it again and see if you can join in and just clap along with that, with me and the click that you can hear, and see if we can just get this idea of time going. So I don't want you to rush and I don't want you to slow down. So let me give you some examples of me rushing that click. So see, I'm clapping purposely before the click. Now let me give an example of me playing just slightly behind the click. So you see you got these two sounds, the click and the clap. Okay, so this almost seems too simple, and maybe some of you are sitting there thinking, what's he talking about? But that's great. If you can do it and you understand it and you want to move on, that's absolutely fantastic. But you wouldn't believe the amount of people I teach years on, despite my best efforts, are still unable to do that and feel that pulse, that internal pulse. Okay, the more you do it, the more you'll understand what I'm talking about. Listening to music, if you're starting to move your body or nod your head or tap, or you're starting to develop that internal pulse. Okay, so let's transfer that to one hand. That's right, you're allowed to pick a drumstick up. If any of you have ever seen that episode of Friends where Phoebe is trying to teach Joey the guitar but doesn't let him touch the guitar, bit like this. So you're now allowed to pick up a stick. So let's try and use our strong hand. If you're left-handed, then you can use your left hand. But let's try and use our strong hand to play in time with this click. So let's swap. Let's change to our left hand now. So that's going to be your weaker hand if you're right-handed, and swap to the right hand if you're left-handed. So look simple, and hopefully if you find it simple, that is fantastic. That's brilliant. It means you have a kind of natural ability. And I'm sure that there'll be some people that will still struggle with this, but just keep going. That's all you got to do. Just keep practicing to clicks. If you can see from the downloads package there, I've included some metronome MP3s for you that you can practice this along to and practice your simple beats to. So now try and move that randomly around your drum kit. If you're not sitting in front of a drum kit, that's fine. Just play your legs, or play, don't know, lay out some old books or the back of a chair. Just try and get in time with this click. So we're still on 60 beats per minute. So let's change this speed to 80 beats per minute. So we're going to get quite a bit faster. Try and stick to playing right, left, right, left. That's a great rudiment to do. It's the most basic rudiment, but just single strokes basically. But it's not as obvious when you're playing around the kit. So if you can try and stick to right, left, right, left. I don't know if you noticed, but I'm raising my hands up between the strokes. A bit like, well, it's like the momentum that you need to feel in your body between each of these pulses. And if any of you have ever seen like a grandfather clock that has that pendulum, it has this momentum that swings, and that is basically the seconds of a clock. Okay, so you've got this momentum in your hands. If you just play them really rigidly, it doesn't really help. So try and really lovely and loose playing. Now, hopefully you can already play a basic rock beat. I'm not going to go through that because I've already recorded a video which you can go and look at. I'm sure there'll be a link to that video. Go and watch that if you need to learn the basic rock beat. So let's transfer. Let's go back to 60 beats per minute, and we'll transfer the hands, the right, left, into the bass, snare, bass, snare. It doesn't matter what hand you play the snare with. If you want to play it with the left, because we're going to play the right on the hi-hat, that's fine. But whatever you like to play with, that's fine. 2, 3, 4. Bass, snare, bass, snare. Now, that also might seem simple, but obviously the bass drum is being played with a different mechanism. You're having to push your foot down and get used to where the beater actually hits that head if you're using an acoustic drum kit. So finally, let's add the whole basic rock beat. Let's put that all together, which is this. Okay, the bass drum is going to be on the first click, the snare on the second, bass on the third, snare on the fourth. And let's see if we can play in time again at 60 beats per minute. Now you're going to feel that you've got 2 notes on the hi-hat over the top of that click. 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and bass. So that might be harder than you think. Playing to a slow click, like 60 beats per minute, is actually really hard not to rush that. Even sometimes I have to be reset on what's in time and what's not in time. A really good exercise you can do for timekeeping is actually play at a certain tempo and then reduce the click, as in make it slower, to see if you can kind of decelerate against that click and really dig into that and get just slower and slower. That's something I try a lot and I found really useful. So to sum up, the beat that you feel and internalize is the key to your playing, because especially when you start playing in bands, other instrumentalists are going to really start trusting your beat, and you'll get a lot of respect for playing in time. It's sadly a common thing for drummers to rush. You know, that's the most normal. Even worse than rushing is slowing down, actually. So I remember when I started, someone said to me, it was probably a fairly useless piece of advice, but if you're going to do either one, then speed up. So I don't really think that's that helpful. Basically, if you're going to do either one, then do some work on not doing either one. Try and keep in time. No speeding up, no slowing down. So go off and have a really good think about that and try and think, what am I trying to get across to you? Hopefully you've hooked onto the fact that is really, really important, and it's one of the things you really need to master. Just take your time, do lots of work on it, and it will come, and it will make you a better drummer.